You are listening to Charlie's Truth audio blog, Entry 9. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Oh, what's up, friends? Oh, what's up, family? How are you doing? This is another entry of Charlie's Truth audio blog. I'm so excited I made it here. It's been a day and it doesn't matter because I made it here and that's what's important. Okay. I pray that you all are well, that you are feeling good, that you are feeling blessed, that you are enjoying life and life is just showering you with all types of love and remembrance and truth and reminders of just how worthy and deserving you are simply because you exist. And hello, how easy is that? How easy is that? Like, I just get to be and get to be blessed, okay? And I love that for us. So, it's kind of late. So, I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible, but intentionally. So, this topic I actually want to talk about today reminds me of a podcast I used to do called So I Came Across This Post. I was on Twitter today and I saw that I think his name is Kai. Let me look at my phone real quick. I saw that Kai, Kai, the streamer, went to Northwest party, right? And apparently people had feelings towards it and thought it was inappropriate. There was this one post that really resonated with me and spoke to me because the post was basically talk about like people are projecting, right? Like people are projecting. And I wanted to talk about something I realized about myself, right? Like this is not even about Kai and Northwest, but this is something that I felt like I have been thinking about recently too, about my own mindset and my own reactions to what I see online. Okay, so let's talk about this. So I love being online, and one of the reasons why what I do enjoy is reading comments. I feel like you can learn so much about someone's perspective and just where they are in their life from, the lens that they see the world through. And it doesn't matter if I think for me it's more about like what you notice, what you pick up on. And I feel that way about anything, any conversation I have, like any perspective someone have is like, it's always a window. Ooh, yes, it's always a window into our inner worlds, whatever version of us is activated in that moment. And I'm not saying that I take a post or a comment and come up with a whole story about a person. No, I think it's just a glimpse into part of their world, and it's not good or bad, it's just a glimpse. And so when I saw the post about Kai and the guy who was reposting it was basically talking about like people be projecting like just because Kai went to Northwest party, like to make this into a thing of that is inappropriate for some reason or that is weird is just like, what? So Kai is a streamer. I do know him as a streamer. A lot of celebrities go on his stream. He's just a young kid. He came here to New York at some point too, and like it shut the city down and a lot of chaos happened. So, he's just living his life, okay? He's a young man living his life, and apparently he is Northwest's favorite streamer. And so as a birthday gift to Northwest, she got to meet Kai, right? And it's like, I think like even when I was younger, I remember I met LL Cool J and I acted like, it was the end of the world. And so I loved LL Cool J. I was so young. I was in elementary school and he came to Harlem and we all were there and it was just exciting. Now, he came to school with a bunch of young kids and I guess it's not one-on-one, but the whole point is just like, some people have like celebrities that they adore and they love, and Northwest is no exception. She loves Kai, and so her parents gifted her with the opportunity to meet him. That is it. So this idea that everybody's making it into like an inappropriate thing is so interesting. And what got my attention was just like I remember I noticed something about myself. Sometimes I see things on social media and I cringe, right? Like when there's a child and an adult and the way that they're hugging or the way that they're touching, I would cringe. And I started to realize that my cringiness and my response wasn't my true response, right? It wasn't from me, but from my ego. It was from all the stories I heard about young children being inappropriately dealt with, and my own experience too. And so, I feel like a lot of us don't realize that we project into a situation and create a narrative about it. Whether I don't think we're always doing it consciously. I think it's a subconscious thing for a lot of us because of what we've experienced in our families or what we know in our cultures. And so we kind of project it out. And this is not to say that there aren't people doing weird things with kids and inappropriate things and taking advantage and things like that. Like I'm not disputing that. But what I am noticing and what I do feel like I wanted to share is like I myself notice how I project my own pains, my own experiences, my own beliefs, my own understanding of the collective beliefs about what's appropriate and not appropriate for children and adults, or just children generally. And I know for myself, I had to check in with myself. I had to have a come into Charliie moment where I realized like, hey, why am I cringing? Like in and of itself, there is nothing wrong with this photo. In and of itself, there's nothing wrong with this video. In and of itself, there's nothing wrong with this post. Why am I cringing? And so when I started paying attention to my thoughts, I realized, oh, these are collective beliefs. So these are collective beliefs that come into my mind about what is happening here. Or if I start reading the comments and I start seeing certain things written, then I'm like, okay, is that what's happening here? And you could so easily distort the circumstances or the situation or create a narrative about the circumstances or the situation because of your idea of what is happening, not because of what's actually happening, but us projecting our beliefs on what's happening or our stories of what's happening because of what we know have happened in the past. And that's basically what the ego is, right? That's basically what beliefs are, right? Like these things we've come up from our past experiences, we're putting it on the current moment instead of being with the current moment. Now, when I saw the guy post about the situation, I was just like, yes, that's exactly how I feel. He did a video and it was just all about projections. And I was like, yeah, I recognize that about myself too. And I just wonder how many people have dealt with their trauma. I'm not trying to be rude or disrespectful, but it's just a truth, right? We are responsible for our inner worlds. And so how many people have realized or recognized or even questioned their beliefs or their perspective of a situation and how it might tie into their unresolved experiences or their beliefs because of their experience that this is always the experience. I remember a big one was like just how lovey-dovey parents are with kids. I didn't grow up with very touchy-feely parents, right? So a lot of times when parents are really touchy-feely, I'm like, what is happening? But that's nothing but my own trauma. That's nothing but me having never experienced what it's like to have parents who are very lovey-dovey, very affectionate, very, intimate with you. Like I don't know what that's like. I didn't start even hugging or touching people in an intimate way, in a loving way, in a safe way, right? And meaning that I felt comfortable and I felt and grounded instead of feeling like awkward or feeling like I don't really want to do this. Kind of like resistance because I'm so uncomfortable with being touched because of my own experiences that I just wasn't comfortable in my body, and I wasn't comfortable with people near my body or touching me, right? Everything felt inappropriate. Everything felt wrong. And that was my own thing to deal with. And so, when I used to see other people's parents be very touchy-dovey, I'm like, all those projections about what is happening, what is going on in that home would come to me. But it's all because of my own experiences. And I had to come to a place and realize that. And so I've been really mindful lately on when thoughts come up that kind of project stories or narratives into situations that I know nothing about. And when I saw the post of the young man addressing the situation with Kai in Northwest, I was like, yo, I really had to have that talk with myself. And I don't know if everybody's ready for that talk. But the reality is a lot of us are projecting. We project our beliefs. We tell narratives about a situation that we really know nothing about. But because we've seen something similar, we have decided that that must be the situation. That must be the circumstance. But other things can be true too. Just because that's your experience, probably in someone else's world, they know nothing about what our cultures go through, what we go through, right? They probably know nothing about that. And so, like, they don't see it the way we see it. And I'm not talking about Northwest because I know Kanye is her dad, and I'm sure Kanye have his own beliefs about, you know, his kids being around certain people in certain circumstances because of maybe what he knows from his culture. I don't know. I think he's from, like, Chicago, right? Anywho, I ain't trying to project on nobody. My whole thing is just, like, what I realized for myself is that sometimes it really just is our own trauma, our own experiences we are projecting onto a situation. And sometimes we don't recognize our own discomfort with situations because of our experience. And I was very relieved to see someone speak on it, because I too have recently had a come into Charliie moment where I'm like, babe, like, you're cringing because of, like, the collective beliefs about what's happening. But that's not necessarily what's happening, right? This is just one possibility. And just, like, resetting my nervous system and responding to things that I don't really understand because my experience was different. And that's kind of like the inner work we do, right? Like, that's kind of what healing is. That's kind of what the remembrance journey is getting back to the truth. Right? Like, those experiences we had were just experiences. They aren't facts, and they aren't they aren't the rule and the law for everybody, right? That's not everybody's story. That's not the only way that something can happen. Everything is not inappropriate, you know? And so I just thought it was like a beautiful moment, because the post is going, I don't even know what makes something viral, but I guess it's viral, right? Like, I don't know what makes something viral, but I think the post is, like, pretty much going viral, and everybody's having think pieces. I even saw another post that just felt like it was absolutely inappropriate, and I'm like, how is it inappropriate for someone who has a fan to meet their fan? Would it be different if, like, Chris Brown was there? Like, what makes it inappropriate? Like, this young kid, like, he hangs out with everybody. Like, as far as, like, he hangs out with other celebrities. He gets invited to things. He creates his own things. Like, he's a big streamer. He's a well-known streamer in certain places. Like, I know about him. I know nothing about streaming, but I know about him from Twitter. And just something that happened in New York City like a year or two ago. I don't even remember when it was, but the whole thing is just like, are we noticing our projections? Are we noticing when we are looking at the circumstances from our own history, from our own memory, from the stories we've told ourselves, from the stories we've been told? Because I know growing up, I wasn't allowed to stay the night at many people's houses because of the fear my parents had. So, you know, and I'm not going to even, like, share my journey or my story, because, like, I don't want to, like, trigger anyone else, right, or activate anyone else right now about it. And I'm just not in the space to give a trigger warning, because, you know, I just came to do this audio blog, and to share my perspective really quickly and just what I noticed about myself, and just kind of, like, move on, because it's kind of, like I told y'all, it's kind of late, later than I usually would do the audio blog, and I also still have things on my to-do list. So I wanted to come through and just share that and talk about that and just put that in the air. You know, maybe this is the topic that we can explore more later, but I did want to share, like, I have recognized that sometimes my initial reaction, right, not response, but my reaction to something has more to do with the memory of that I have, or history of something, or my own trauma, or my own experiences, or stories that have been told to me, or, you know, things your parents, as you're growing up, they warn you about, You know, those are the kind of things that come up for me in certain situations. And I do notice my own discomfort in this world, this discomfort I've had with my body and with other humans and in different spaces that tend to get activated by things on social media or get activated through a conversation. So, you know, I just wanted to come through and kind of share that and talk about it and put it out there and share my perspective, right? This is Charlie's Truth audio blog. This is what we do. It's kind of like a vlog, but audio. And so it's all about like life and growing and learning and discovering and remembering and just having our experiences and enjoying them and being in the moment and being in spaces that just feels like, I don't know, that have different experiences that we get to reflect on later. And so, yeah, I wasn't sure what else I was going to talk about today. I had there was a couple of posts actually that caught my attention. There was also one with Will Smith that really caught my attention that I reposted and shared my thoughts on. And so today has been a day of, right, so I came across this post type energy and I had a response for it. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you saw the post and what were your thoughts about it, if you had any, or what are your thoughts about your trauma showing up and how you perceive something or how you see things? Yeah, I think it's all so interesting. And if we pay attention to our thoughts and pay attention to our perspective, we may notice how often our history is playing a part in how we're perceiving something, as opposed to us being with the moment and actually analyzing what is happening in the here and now. A lot of us are bringing in memories and ego is memory, right? For the most part, well, like big part of it. But we're bringing in, you know, these beliefs and all these things that can change. You know, these are not fixed things. These are not absolutes. And yet so often we project it on situations and circumstances and people. And kind of sometimes it does us a disservice, right? We don't allow a moment to be what it is and actually respond to that moment. We are reacting to our own pains, our own traumas, our own stories. And it's really not the person at all, about the person at all or the situation at all. It's really about us. And some of us have unresolved issues to deal with and we may not be aware of it. And so if this conversation can get us thinking, get a conversation started, then I feel like it's doing exactly what it's meant to. Or maybe it'll help someone be at peace with the ideas and the thoughts that come into their head. I know it took me a little time to accept my thoughts and to not judge myself for having them and recognize that they're coming from so many different places and that I can just observe them and be that neutral observer and go from there. And it's a beautiful practice and a beautiful journey. So with that being said, I'm gonna head on up out of here. I love you all so much. I pray that you are well. This is Charlie's Truth audio blog, entry 9, and I will speak to you all tomorrow. I love you. Thank you for being here with me, and I love you. Peace out.